Alright, so we got the titanium here, 170 hooked up to. These guys were asking me. There's 120 and then there's 240. So I came down here. I cut the original plug. Okay, and this is the breaker, the 30 amp. Now I'm gonna go and get another plug and the fancy 42 amp. This one also runs off of 240 with a 42 amp max, which would be better. But we're still gonna get 240. It's just I don't have the amperage, but I want to see if that's even necessary, because this thing at full max should only pull about 19 amps. So I don't think we're gonna pop a breaker even at full max. Now, if you're at 120 volts and you go full max, you could pop that 30 amp breaker from my understanding. But yeah, 3 wires that were on here, just like the last video I showed you. A black, a white, and a green. Black and white are hot. Green is ground. The black and white on this prong, 4-prong, goes into the gold. Okay, the gold screws. The green wire goes into the green ground, and the neutral wire, since you don't have it, is just left blank. You don't have one. You're running pure 240, 2 hots and a ground. And yeah, that neutral is obsolete. You don't need that neutral wire. If you have one, you can even cut it. You don't need it. But I just screwed mine into here and it cancels it out. You don't even have to do that. It's just 3 wires, 2 hots and a ground. The hots go to gold, the green goes to ground. And then you come over here, and anyways, this is the outlet right here. I know some guys were wondering on that one. This plugs right in there. And then you got your 120 and then your 240 volt option. You just go to the 240, and when the generator's on, you turn it on, and this should take some of the abuse out of the generator. Okay, so here's the duty cycle, guys. 4 minutes of welding at so 40% at 120 volts, 90 amps. Okay, so that means you're gonna get 4 minutes before you have to do a 6-minute rest at 90 amps. But here's the kicker: you can't even get into the higher amperage range without the 240. You can't even get up to 160. So you got 25%, 2.5 minutes at 160 amps before you need a 7.5 minute rest. So that's the duty cycle, guys. If you want your welder to actually run the way it should and be able to weld those higher materials, I mean, that's why you bought this welder, the 170 amp. You didn't buy a 90 amp welder, you bought 170. Do yourself a favor, go to 240 like it says, and get that 160 amps that you need to do the various bigger jobs and the thicker metals that you guys want to do. And sure, if you're just doing sheet metal all day or something tiny, and you want to put it on the baby Mincy setting, but if you want the 0.50 Desert Eagle, you go to the 240.
The fact that I've got Desert Eagle 0.50.
And then you guys have probably all seen this. I'm not going to go over that, but we're running 30, and let's see here. So at 240, like you said, the material thickness is going up. We can still run all this 24 gauge. We could do all this little baby stuff that the other side does here. Okay, so that's not gonna matter. Let's see here. So yeah, we're looking good. So we can get up to 1/4 inch like a boss man. But if you don't want to be the boss man and you want to be down there with the little guys, and stick around with the 1/8 inch. But I'm going to be getting into some thicker stuff, the 1/4 inch, like on this propane. I've got, I believe it's 3/16 ends on there that we're going to be welding up, and I think we're only going to be around the 1/8 inch, 14 gauge-ish 1/8 inch on the actual propane tank itself. So yeah, it says the wire speed changes and all that. We're using Flux Core, so I'll play around with that for a second and get back to you. Okay, so we're using Flux Core AUT30. So our wire speed, we're going about 1/8 inch, wants to be at 250, it says. Voltage, going to be at 18 volts. Our inductance wants to be at 5 to 10. Okay, so I mean, I'll set the machine up like that, and I guess let's just see what happens.
Yo, rock, yo, rocket.
It took me a while to dial it in. The 240 was a little bit different, and I got some weird splatter action. as you can see the generator working, trying to catch up with the voltage and the amperage and the power on, power off. You can see the generator isn't necessarily struggling, but just wanted to show you guys, you know, how it sounds. Ideally, it's not, you know, necessarily meant to be a welder generator, so, but it does the job.
go. See my ugly ones. Anything is, it went through. Sold them. That's all that matters. It's not the Taj Mahal. This thing, that little test run here, came out pretty good. Snug as a bug in a rug. Okay, and then we're gonna put some brackets here with some rebar on the next video, and then lock it down. And then I think this should be good enough to get the material out. And then do some more welding here and here. And we're off to the races. It's pretty much done. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put some rebar in there. Yep, to pick up the balls. Yeah, I actually had metal shipped to me. Price of everything going up. Never find what I want. I don't want to buy a whole sheet. Oh, that's gonna be nice and thick. Yeah. Liking it, loving it, feeling it. Nice. It's rusty because I did leave this box outside for a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and just mark this with a Sharpie. All the way around. Okay. Do that on the other one. I'm just going to put this one on the outside because I've got this lip here. If I put it on the inside, it's going to be, this is going to be hanging out, and that's going to be kind of weird. So it's kind of sideways, so I figure if I can get this pretty much flat, hit this with the level and the grinder, everything should be pretty squared up and ready for awesomeness. So weld those on here on the ends. So I got to cut these, weld these, and the cool thing about this, I could use these triangles for my axle. So